I'd like to thank the FHIR team for being here and for Reen for moderating, and we now open up our office hours. Thank you.
Thank you. So welcome, everyone. Let's see who's here. Hi, Marcus. And who's there? Who's that? That must be the young...
She should sleep, but she don't want to sleep.
This is, yeah, I can. We'll put her to sleep.
She can tell her something interesting.
Talk about standards. That will. Hey, Nancy, welcome.
Hello, Reen. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Great to have you here.
Good to see you. I thought we'd see who all was showing up for this presentation.
Yeah, let's find out. Probably some people who, there were a lot of people in the backstage session with Erika Okrent.
Yeah,
very
just like Eva.
Yeah, and Graham and Lloyd and everyone was there. Ah, there's Michael. Hey, Michael.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah, going great. How about you?
Good. Yeah. Busy.
Yeah? Are you at home?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. We're grounded.
Yeah.
That's actually, but we're actually heading out for we're taking a break next week, and so we've rented a place in the absolute middle of nowhere in Idaho.
Oh.
Like right by the Grand Teton National Park, like on the Wyoming border there. So we're
oh, nice.
Be as socially distanced as is possible.
But first you have to travel there.
Yeah. So it's a 12-hour drive, so that's a bit of a bummer. But that's yeah, that's only a little bit further than people drive for a taco here, so it's not too bad.
Okay. Well, let's talk FHIR. Who wants to open up the discussion? And we have a lot of topics that we could cover, but it's up to you. And you can use the session Q&A or just unmute yourself and ask anything you like. Michael, do you want to start?
Well, I have a DevDays question, so that sure is on a lot of people's minds. What are your thoughts on the November meeting, traveling and all this sort of stuff? I know we can't really predict things now, but I'm sure you guys must have thought about this a little bit.
Yeah, have you seen the poll?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had 150 votes now, and it says 44% is in person, in favor of in person, and 56% is in favor of virtual.
Okay.
But if you take into account that 90% of the people here are from the US, I'm not sure what that means.
It's probably hard to get anything concrete out of that. Yeah, I don't even know. So from us, we may just not be permitted to travel.
Yeah.
So that will be.
My guess is that it will be virtual.
Yeah, it's.
And we'll decide very soon.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, we wanted to wait until we had this event because you want to see if it really works, and if people will show up. Well, they did, and a lot of things that are typically dev days can be done virtually, like the content. We still have to figure out a bit about the Let's Builds.
Yep.
But we even maybe you've seen the virtual pub crawl, which is nowhere near the real thing, of course. But it some people even got drunk.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they did. Well, I was actually talking with Marco about it a little bit prior to a session the other day, and I what I said was, I think the key to these virtual events is to try to embrace what's great about it being virtual, right? And not, spend too much time being upset about the things you can't do, right? Because there are advantages, right? You can reach more people. you know, people don't have to travel, so less cost and all that stuff, and so you can. There are other advantages, but I think it's tough if you try to make it if you try to recreate exactly the same experience virtually, you're just going to be disappointed, right?
Yeah, correct.
That's a really good point, Michael. You know, there are so many great advantages for both Connect-a-thons and DevDays to do them virtually like this.
Yeah.
I mean, if nothing else, you can, you know, you can see the screens better, you know, not all the other overhead. There's a lot of real advantages. I mean, I think we've done a great job both the last Connect-a-thon at DevDays communicating, but I do think we really miss out the face-to-face. You know, there are people that I would normally connect with that I would like to see face-to-face, and there might be people to have a conversation with, and those just are not happening. I think the crawl was a great idea, and I really liked the ones where people just, you know, there were smaller groups and we just had conversation. That worked out great, but you don't really know where to go to find people that you might want to just have a chat with. It'd be nice to figure out a way to do that. I think the breakout rooms are a possibility.
Yeah, we were thinking about a lounge where you just one room that has no purpose other than where you can go to see who's there, and or maybe do meetups with speakers or something like that. We were thinking about something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. To be able to, that time after a speaking presentation where you just want to chat.
Yeah.
Like maybe, you know, if you have all these sessions, like after the session, to have it go directly to a breakout room for people who want to stay and engage.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, like the meet and greet with Erika right now.
Yeah, that's popular.
I think so. Yeah.
I was so disappointed that that meeting didn't happen in person with Erika.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to get the signature in my book.
She can sign your ebook now.
or you know, these notes on the screen that happened.
Oh yeah.
And then you make a something. You have a signed screenshot.
Yes, screenshot. Yeah.
Rien, has anyone ever thought about a hybrid where you have some in person and you also allow remote?
Yeah, I think that happens a lot. Actually, Michael, isn't the what's it called, the big Microsoft event? Isn't that a hybrid event?
The big Microsoft event.
Yeah, the build.
Oh, build. Oh, it was completely virtual this time.
Yeah, but normally.
Yeah, you can connect to the sessions remotely. Yeah.
Yeah. So something similar. How does that work? Does it work?
I don't actually know the details of it. It's like a major production. Like this is we have people that's actually their only job is to set up this event.
Yeah, it must
so
be.
It's kind of a different. You know, thousands of people and stuff. So I'm not quite sure how they manage it all. But.
Yeah, but I wonder if you can copy that format for something small like DevDays, if it's not overkill.
Well, I think it would be fairly straightforward, right? To have people when they present, even, you know, they can present in person, but they just have to be mic'd up properly, and so.
Well, I found out that that running the virtual event is a thing in itself.
Yeah.
You have a completely you have an entirely different set of logistics that you have to take care of.
Yep.
And if you do both, you have to do it twice. One in real life and one.
No, I don't think it gets easier organizing it virtually.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. This one was far more difficult because it was the first time, but even the second one will be a lot of work.
Yeah, and I think also figuring out, I mean, it sounds like something we should have just nailed by now, but figuring out all the technology and stuff, it doesn't, you know, lots of this is still pretty scrappy, right? And so it doesn't matter how well you do, there will always be some people that are unhappy with it and stuff and have a poor experience. And I think they forget that when you go to an in-person meeting, there are also lots of audiovisual problems and places where you don't see the screen well and so on. So I think it's a bit of a tough one.
Yeah. Well, for me, you remember, Michael, the ice ring that we did last year in November. That was really nice. That's something that you definitely cannot do virtually.
No, and those, I mean, this is actually, for me, that's one of the best parts of a meeting like DevDays. It's also the time when so afterwards you stand, and once people have had a couple of drinks, they might pick up the courage to come up and say, hey, what are you guys doing? Or this stuff doesn't work. Or, it's just much more informal, and you can't have that kind of interaction when, in this format. I just think, I don't know how that would happen.
So does anyone have a FHIR related question?
I'm sorry. I already.
No worries.
I see we have Paul on the line and Marcus.
No questions about the FHIR.net API? Certain line of code that you're missing. Oh, here's the startup.
That must be Hamish. Yeah.
Well, we can talk about DevDays, of course. If nothing else.
I actually have a .NET FHIR API question. FHIR Packages. Are you guys thinking about building in some support or something? I know FHIR now has it in their latest, and we're obviously thinking about it, looking at it. So it's just wondering what your thoughts are.
Yeah, so we already have a packages library in .NET. I know Martijn. So we reuse this in Torinox and in Forge, for example, to install packages locally. I know we were planning to make that open source. I'm not sure where it stands. Christian, would you happen to know? Or?
No, I don't know where that stands. I do know that it works because I've tried it already for the server as well.
Okay.
So
are you planning to build it into Vonk?
Packages? Definitely, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's good to see it being adopted. Like, that gives me some confidence that this will actually happen. So I think it'll be a big step up from all the other. I mean, so far people have just made up their own ways of managing this, right? So I think it's good to have a.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, definitely.
Indeed, actually, Alexander made a script to download all your packages and then send the conformance resources to a FHIR server of your choice. But it's a workaround using Torinox command line tool.
Okay.
It should just be natively in both servers, and I know both Happy Indeed and Vonk are working on this.
Yeah.
But we should. I think there's no reason we wouldn't open source this and put it in API. I think it's just lack of priority that it hasn't happened yet. But if you push on it, then that should.
Would it be useful for you, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna put something in. So we would rather, leverage a standard path, right, and do things in the same way. So that's why I was asking. So we're also considering it for some of the other tools that we're sort of, that they're not the FHIR service, but are ancillary related things. Like we have this anonymization tool and a conversion tool where we manage some artifacts and stuff. So we're just trying to figure out how to. If there was like a joined up way of doing it, we would go that way. So something we'll pick up more work on here after DevDays.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that tooling already heavily controlled by conformance resources then?
The conversion and anonymization tools are not, but we still manage a bunch of. So we're just thinking about the packaging system more, not necessarily putting it into FHIR resources, but just as a joined up way of managing all these different artifacts across the different tools and stuff that we have that sort of they grow somewhat inorganically, but then it goes off in all sorts of different directions. And it's good every now and again to try and bring it back together again.
Yeah, because that is the reason why we with Vonk will do this.
So this is also interesting for Google. We have sort of obviously the same problem with just managing people's profiles across many instances of FHIR.
Mm-hmm. I think now the biggest advantage with having packages is that you have a central place with registry.fhir.org backed by Simplifier, where you can simply go and search for your package name and the version resolution and everything. That is covered by the API. So I think that in the end, that will make life really easy.
Yeah. Well, Paul, did you already find the package server documentation? Because it's out there. There's an API to search on packages.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with it myself, but I'm aware that it exists.
Great. And we're building for HL7 this newer version of the FHIR registry, which will also be built on top of those packages. So we'll get a better search interface for packages too.
Hey, FHIR team, what is your favorite product or service or feature that came out since last DevDays?
That's a good one. I think in Simplifier we introduced example generation, and I saw that there was a lot of pickup for people. A lot of people like that. Apparently, that's still a hard part. I see that people also like this in Sushi, in shorthand, to make it easier to generate examples. But it was a good pickup on that one. Alexander,
Yeah,
the FHIR mapper
that we can now, utilize the FHIR mapper. Of course, I think that's the greatest benefit.
Yeah. So from my side, working on the FHIR mapper, we are now. It's not possible to read in a bunch of different formats. So at DevDays, we started out with XML and JSON and custom resources. And now we extended that to CCDA, to HL7v2, and also CSV. So there's a bunch of formats that we can now natively load in. And I think that is very useful. As we say now, almost every server is now trying to come up with some solution on how to load different data formats into the FHIR server, and that problem will always exist. So it's good to be prepared on that side.
So about DevDays, I was going to say that I think virtual DevDays works pretty well. And I think actually virtual connectathons don't work as well. I think you lose a lot more value in the connectathons. It's really not the same.
You mean the last one when was it?
Yeah, May.
February, May? Oh, May, yeah, May. Yeah, and why is that, Paul? What?
Well, so the tracks mostly have some sort of, Zoom syncs at particular times. Which I think is a lot less organic than being at the table. You're sort of like the amount of work that you can get done over a Zoom call is sort of one-to-one. Like you can really only have a limited number of people talking at a time. So there's not as much opportunity to have 8 people around a table where there could be multiple conversations going on. People breaking off to talk to somebody specifically if their client's not connecting to your server. I think definitely there was more of a barrier there.
Can that be solved, or is it a matter of getting used to, or is it something fundamental?
I thought it was pretty fundamental. I think, and some of the ad hoc conversations that you have at connectathons were pretty valuable. I mean, I'm sure there was room to do it better, but I think ultimately it's that kind of ad hoc, many to many environment that's very hard to replicate.
Yeah.
Do any of the tools let you do that? Have like, if you're in a session and you want to have an ad hoc breakout room with a couple people, is that possible?
in Zoom, you need the host to take care of that.
Well, I know like WebEx training has this concept of breakout rooms that are pretty nice. So I'm just wondering, there could be technology that allows you any group to create a breakout room for any particular reason. Like that might help solve some of those problems.
Yeah, I think the other thing that could potentially help is a lot of it, I think, needs to be driven by the track lead in a way that track leads are not used to doing in person. Like you sort of have to be very sort of forceful and say, we're going to have a chat thread or we're going to have this discussion, and to call on people and say, what are you doing? Like, how can we help you, kind of thing. And they facilitate these things in person, and facilitating it online is the same kind of task. It's just a little bit different in terms of how you actually go about it. So maybe some experience, just some learned experience will help there.
There's a raised hand, Irene.
Oh, sorry.
See, Wanda has a question.
Wanda, you have a question? Please unmute
Yes.
yourself.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I've been trying to ask this question all week, and I've been trying to figure it out on my own, but I just have not been able to. I'm sorry. Hold on. My earpiece fell out.
Must be an ear.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do I access? I downloaded Azure several places on my laptop and on my iPad, and I cannot figure out how to upload the code, the subscription code, and I can't remember the other thing, but how to upload that so I can get the files in order to do like a practice of the FHIR.
We have Michael from the FHIR team here. Michael?
Well, I'm not 100% sure I get the question. Did you actually say that you had downloaded Azure?
I did.
That's
a
lot.
You say what?
That's a lot. That was a joke. So I'm not quite sure what you mean exactly. So are you trying to? Are we talking about setting up Vonk in Azure, or what's the question about?
I want to be able to do I guess be able to look at the practice files and run, I guess, I don't know, an application to the Postman as far as to, and maybe I have the language all wrong, but I'm trying to just do a practice of the FHIR.
So you want to set up a FHIR server?
You're trying to set up a FHIR server in Azure?
Yes.
Which FHIR server?
I thought it was different from one of the hackathons. It was showing that it was folders, different folders that you can download files from. Yeah.
So if this is since this is the FHIR office hours, if it's not the Vonk FHIR server, maybe you can just reach out to me on email or something, and I'll try and work you through. You should be able to run, the Vonk FHIR server, the Microsoft FHIR server, either the open source or the managed one, Happy FHIR, whatever it is that your preference. And there are different ways of setting them up in Azure or in other clouds, right? So maybe you can shoot me an email afterwards with where exactly you're getting stuck, and then I'll see if we can sort of
okay.
It may take a little while to untangle.
Okay.
Just depends. So if you send me some links with what your starting point is and so on, and then I'll try and see if I can help you unwind it.
Okay.
Wanda, I also copy and pasted a link in the session Q&A where you can download a server, and there's documentation online that will help you deploy that server.
Yeah. Okay. What did you send that link to?
In the
Hoover Q&A.
Are you in the Hoover app? If you
yes.
Next to our session, there's a session Q&A tab.
Okay. Okay.
And there you will find a link, and I will also copy paste Michael's address there.
Okay, that'd be good.
And maybe to add to that, if you want to work with FHIR and test the FHIR RESTful API, you not even have to set up a FHIR server because most of the FHIR servers run a public endpoint.
Yes.
That is explicitly for testing. So make sure you don't enter any real data there. So there's certainly one for the Azure server, and there's also one for Vonk, which I happen to know the address of, or maybe Reen can paste that as well.
I will. I'm doing it
so
now.
you just enter the address in Postman, and you can just try all the RESTful stuff there without having to set up your server on your own.
I think there's even a wiki page somewhere with a whole bunch of public servers that you can.
Yeah, true. That's so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at a disadvantage because I'm a nurse at ONC. I'm a nurse informaticist, so I'm not dealing with patients or hospital organization, anything like that. I just want to learn FHIR and how to run it just for myself because of the various projects I'll be running with HL7, dealing with FHIR. Some of the contracts I'll be running.
Well, that's even better. Great. Yeah. Then I would definitely recommend to start with the public endpoint.
Yeah, play with one of the public ones first, and then once you feel like you've kicked the tires a little bit, you can go and deploy your own. But that's a little bit of a it takes a little. Yeah. It's a little bit of a step, right? So it'd be tough to get stuck on that first.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I thank you all. Now I reach out to you, Michael.
Yeah. Please just send me an email and
I'll
do my best.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Wanda. Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Still getting started with using FHIR is, I think it's still pretty hard because if you first enter HL7 FHIR.org or whatever, you are directly shown a complete specification and with all these weird rules, and there's, I still think, not a very good tutorial where you say, okay, that's the purpose here, get started, and then if you want to deep dive into a certain topic, then you can look at that page or that. It's
But I mean, anything where you sort of assume that you'd be able to just whip open Postman and start typing stuff in, it already, that's a big step up.
Yeah, it's a big step.
As an introduction to new technology, right? That you can't like get a nice, graphical view of it or something where you can play with it. I don't know what the right thing would be, but.
And of course, the vendors have different pages where they show you their product and how that would fit into the FHIR strategy of a certain company. But I feel from the perspective of the FHIR specification, there should be a generic introduction.
Yeah, no,
and there is an introduction page on the FHIR specification, but I think it's not doing a pretty good job on introducing FHIR.
Yeah, I mean, also even for like software professionals, I mean, we have people that start on our team that have never worked with anything healthcare related or something, and it takes a little getting started. It's not easy to get in.
True.
I see we have some new joiners here, Marcus and Sean and Morale. Anyone looking to ask a question? Hey, Sean.
Hello. I've got a couple, I guess I'd call them business questions. I'm with Lineate, and we've got a couple of products, Rhapsody and CorePoint integration engines. And so, most of our customers, they're getting involved with FHIR at different levels, and we are also looking at how we integrate these tool sets into our products. One of the things, I'm the director of the co-creation lab, so we're a little bit different than, we're part of product, but a little bit different in that we're really looking at doing a lot of different things. So both, FHIR Lee, and I see Michael there also from Microsoft. So you guys have this bridge to cross, right, between open source and for profit. And so I want my company to get involved more on the open source side of things. But I'm interested in that experience of how you sort of bridge over. I know that with Forge, it was free at the beginning, and now it's for profit, or there's a subscriber-based version. And then also with Azure, we started with the free API and managed API, and then it went GA, and so now that's a revenue stream. And I'm just kind of curious about that journey of what belongs as open source, sort of, you might either call it permanently or long term, and then how do you bridge that over with customers into a pay model?
So I can't speak for Microsoft, of course, but I can tell you that for us at FHIRly, it's an almost daily discussion how to keep the balance. And there's no one answer to that question, because you want to, on the one hand, you want to give substantial things for free to the community. Otherwise it's a hoax. But on the other hand, you still have to make a living, right? So that's there's no single answer. Maybe one of the, yeah.
No, I like that it is a balance. And for me, trying to sell the idea to my management, I think, they want to see it as PR, but I'm like, well, it can't be PR. There has to be real value there, because in this community, it's, I don't know what the right word is, but there's no imposters, right? I mean, it's like you're going to do, and people are going to evaluate really quickly if your tool is worth a darn or if it helps them. And if it doesn't, then they're going to forget about you. So
right, correct. Yeah. And actually, Eva, do you want to say something? Go ahead.
No, I was just very much agreeing. I mean, you don't do closed source, so people, you can hide your weaknesses of your product if that's what you're looking at. And also, what I'd like to add is that seeing it as PR is one thing, but making your stuff open source is only the beginning, because what you really want is a community around it. So it's not like, we'll just turn the button to public and then stuff will happen automatically. You get a new job, which is involving people. So you get a living open source project. And that's so if you're trying, I'm not saying you're doing, but if your company thinks this is a PR thing, then they'll be surprised that it won't work that way.
Yeah. No, that's I think from where I sit is like that's sort of my first wedge that I drive is I know how you're thinking about this, and now I need you to think about it differently. And they're all smart people, so they get it, but I still have to sort of make that monetary that resource argument that we can vote.
Well, Sean, I know of one person that really that you can have a meaningful discussion with about this topic, who's Dave Shaver.
Yeah,
I know he's no longer in the company, but we had lengthy discussions with Dave at numerous HL7 workgroup meetings around business models. So it's no surprise. And Dave solved the problem by giving away a lot of beer.
I never got any. I'm very disappointed. I came too late to the party.
And that was PR, but
yeah,
it certainly helped.
Okay. Well,
what is your? Oh, sorry, Nancy. Go ahead.
So I just figured I would add. So we're a Vonk user, and the reason we chose Vonk is we wanted to have at our core an enterprise FHIR server that we could depend on. We wanted to know that we could get good support all the time, and I would say the Vonk support is fantastic. They almost always give immediate feedback, unless it requires a little bit more in-depth dive. And I also feel that they're looking at where the industry is going and trying to add the features that they see the industry needs. So it's just a level of support and productization that I think is important to have. So I still think of Vonk as probably the best enterprise system around, and I'm not picking, the Microsoft option is new. I haven't really used it yet. We'll probably be looking into it. I actually am more interested, I'd love to get a conversation between Reen and Michael to find out, how the pieces might interact. There's some interesting things going on there. But we've been very happy with the Vonk server, and I just can't say enough good things about it. So.
Oh, thank you, Nancy.
I'll just say thanks.
One thing you may not know about FHIR, though, and maybe you do, is that a lot of these guys are really good dancers. I mean, you get them out on the dance floor, and then we saw Iwa today is also a pianist. So it's the community thing. I just, it's amazing to me. I know I'm not in it, and that's not something you can just kind of want to walk into. But I'm somewhat envious of it in that I see how all these different players interact in the FHIR community, and FHIR I see is very much at the center of that. And I think a lot of that is your personalities. You guys, you know how to have fun seriously, right? That kind of thing. So I do. I enjoy that about you guys. But you build so many tools so fast, I can't keep up with them, and it makes me feel inadequate. And Microsoft too is starting to you ramp it up. It's like, okay, what do we need? What do we need to be able to support? How do we integrate this in the product? And it's like, yeah, okay, hang on a second. Oh no, there's a new version. Oh, there's a new product. Oh, they got other things. So you guys are great. I mean, you just do so much. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Well, maybe we should have a call sometime. Maybe we can collaborate.
Yes, I'd love to.
I've lost sight a bit of Dave when he's left CorePoint, of course, but maybe Lineate is a new opportunity.
I think it is, and we're very much open to partnerships. Is I think part of this company's philosophy as the successor of CorePoint and Orion Health, both. So
yeah,
or that part of Orion Health.
And Nancy, what you were saying about the Microsoft stack and the FHIR stack, we've talked about this, Michael and I, in previous sessions, and I have no doubt that in real life, if the event were in real life, we would have a similar discussion. So Michael will talk about that later. We have some discussions here going on that might have throw a new light on our collaboration as well. So we'll take that up after the event.
Yeah. And Michael, I'll reach out offline as well, because there are a couple things that I think might augment what we're trying to do with FHIR nicely.
Yeah, please do. I have to bounce and jump off because I gotta go be on a thing with Josh. But I just want to say hi to everybody. And
thanks for joining us, Michael.
See you back there again there.
Yeah.
Okay. See you. Bye-bye.
See you.
Is there one final question here before we leave the meeting?
Michael, now that the Microsoft guy's out of the way, let me tell you what the FHIR Server. When you're ready for the big leagues, you should come talk to us.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I would love to see more of your marketing materials available for people like us who want to market your product as part of our product, to hear what you are presenting to other people so that we can incorporate that in our messaging.
Yeah, you can start at cloud.google.com/healthcare, or you can reach out to me. I'm on the engineering team. So we do not have an open source version of the server. It's pretty tightly coupled to the infrastructure underneath it.
Yep.
Sorry, who was that speaking?
That's Paul Church.
The Google Cloud Platform. Okay, well, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Paul, Sean, Nancy, thanks very much. Marcus, Michael, Wanda, and I wish you a happy continuation of the event, and hopefully we'll see each other at the farewell hangout
Oh yeah, the farewell hangout. That's right.
Yeah,
Can you
I don't
tell
see it
me?
in the mobile app yet. Well, yeah. Sorry,
I,
Wanda.
This is Wanda. Can you tell me really quickly what I see the question and answer session, but I don't know which category it's in, which
You
topic
should,
it's under.
if you look in the
Under what?
agenda and just go to our session, then there should be a Q&A button there.
Oh, under URL session, the one I just went into. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's our session in the agenda. And then there's a tab called Session Q&A.
Got it. I see it. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, and I've
Wonderful.
posted all the links there, and what has done the same? Oh,
Yeah, I see everything. I see everything now. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, well, thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you later today.
hey, what? It is there in the agenda. I can see it though. It's weird. Okay. Bye bye.